All right, let's try this again. So let's see if anybody can join the stream here and actually hear my microphone. Okay, so we're going to restart this stream. Had technical difficulties a minute ago. Let me know if you can hear my microphone okay in the chat box down below. So I'll wait for people to join here. This might be a little bit of an extended intro to the replay. All good? So we got Dimitri in the chat here. He says it's all good. Anybody else hear me okay? Awesome. Welcome. So let's go ahead and get started now. So yeah, yesterday is one of the craziest days that I've personally seen in crypto in a long time. Okay. So, you know, if you were watching the markets yesterday in the last 24 hours, you probably got a little bit of anxiety, you know, watching the price action. About why that happened, why yesterday was such a crazy day, and what you need to know and what might happen next. So before we get into that, you know, if you're new around here, hey, I'm Gregory, and on this channel, I turn you into a blockchain master. So if that's something that you're interested in, then smash that like button down below for the YouTube algorithm and subscribe to this channel. And if you want to become a blockchain master step-by-step, start to finish, then head on over to dappuniversity.com/bootcamp to get started today. All right, so we got people in the chat here. Probably a lot less people on this stream today because we had a couple false starts there at the beginning. So I don't know if they're going to click on this video after they had problems with the other one. So we got Dimitri, Jack, Mark, Frank. Welcome. So let's go ahead and jump into here to what happened yesterday. Okay, because, you know, if you were watching the cryptocurrency prices like I was talking about, let's go ahead and pull these up here on the screen. It was pretty much a bloodbath. We saw Ethereum flash crash. We saw Bitcoin go down as well. We can see Bitcoin went all the way into like 47,000, I want to say, or let's see here. Yeah, we flashed all the way down to $47,602. ETH was the same. You know, ETH was basically at an all-time high, and flashed down to $3,650. Of course, we were there not too long ago, but this was a little bit of a panic sell. So what happened? So it was really two things. All right. So the first thing was absolutely crazy. So we had to start back up and look at what's been going on with the dog coins or the dog monies over the past several weeks. So of course we've seen Dogecoin on an absolute tear over the past several months. This is kind of the coin that caught everybody by surprise. Nobody expected Doge to do like this, you know, 100x or whatever Doge has done in the past year. I haven't honestly kept up with the price performance. It's just been so crazy. I haven't touched Doge. I've just seen lots of people, you know, go nuts about it. Let's actually see what was going on with Doge over the past, you know, 180 days here. So, you know, of course, this is what I was talking about. You know, Doge took everybody by surprise, just lifted off the floor, you know, did this. We've seen a major correction since then. So we've seen other cryptocurrencies try to sort of capitalize off this, all right? This has happened a lot, where basically a new trend comes on the scene, you see a fork of this, people want to like get some of that market share, or you see copycats kind of go off a certain similar theme. So, of course, the Shiba Inu token, which has happened on top of Ethereum. You could trade on Uniswap. All that type of stuff is trying to capitalize off of the canine coin trend. All right. So Shiba Inu, you know, sent a large amount of their supply of tokens to Vitalik Buterin's wallet. Okay. So this is sort of like advertising. You see people do this all the time on Ethereum, where basically they'll create a new coin, although Shiba Inu has been around a little bit longer, but you'll see this a lot where people will create a new coin and then they'll send a bunch of their tokens to like a really prominent wallet and say, look, you know, this person has some of those coins, like our project's legit, all that kind of stuff. And so they did this, right? They sent it to Vitalik's wallet. And well, I was talking about this a couple weeks ago, maybe last week it was, where basically, you know, I think he had like, you know, billions worth of Shiba Inu tokens in his wallet at that point because they were gifted to him. And I was thinking like, hey, this is kind of a strange tax situation. Like, what do you do when, you know, in an unsolicited way receive these funds? Like, you know, you got like billions of dollars. So basically what happened yesterday was Vitalik got rid of his Shiba Inu coins that way. So I'll pull up the article on my screen here. So let's see here. I want to get the details right. So basically, I'm trying to get the actual numbers right here. I don't see the total numbers here right off the top of my head, but basically what happened was he dumped all of his Shiba Inu tokens. He donated the spoils to charity, which is awesome. People talking about this is kind of like a smart move. But yeah, that basically caused the price of Shiba Inu tokens to absolutely tank. I think it caused a lot of like ripples in the market that got people kind of scared. So that was the first thing. Okay. So this is sort of like an epic move from Vitalik for like kind of getting rid of his dog coins that were given to him and started to kind of cause the first ripple panic in the market. The second one was Tesla. Okay. So of course, Tesla's been a major player in the crypto game over the past, really earlier this year. Of course, we saw Tesla buy $1.5 billion worth of Bitcoin for its, corporate balance sheet. Been a Bitcoin bull. And then yesterday we saw kind of a little bit of a, not a 180, but, a statement about Bitcoin that was less than ideal, put it that way. Let me just pull it up here. See if I can find the tweet. I had it pulled up on my computer and then I had to restart it from the live stream. Technical difficulties here. And we're seeing this across all like major news publications. Okay. So let me just find it. All right, here it is. So I'll pull it up here. So here's a statement that Tesla issued yesterday. So Tesla and Bitcoin. All right. So Tesla has suspended vehicle purchases using Bitcoin. So basically, after Tesla bought Bitcoin to hold it on their balance sheet, they also allow people to purchase Teslas, like the actual vehicles, on their website with Bitcoin. Okay, so they said they stopped doing this. And I remember earlier when they did this, people got excited because basically they thought that like people were buying Teslas with Bitcoin, they would just hold the Bitcoin, not convert it to cash, all that kind of stuff at the point of sale. But they're saying we're concerned rapidly about increasing use of fossil fuels for Bitcoin mining and transactions, especially coal, which has the worst emission of any fuel. So cryptocurrency is a good idea on many levels, and we believe it is a promising future, but this cannot come at a great cost to the environment. So Tesla will not be selling any Bitcoin, and we intend to use it for transactions as soon as mining transitions to more sustainable energy. We're also looking at other cryptocurrencies that use less than 1% of Bitcoin's energy per transaction. So there's a lot in this. There's a lot to think about in this. So number one is sort of the environmental concerns of proof of work. Okay. So basically what this is saying is, Bitcoin, how it runs, uses miners. Okay. So it has something called a consensus algorithm or consensus mechanism, where anytime you have new Bitcoin that's created or anytime you do anything on the Bitcoin network, if you send Bitcoin around, of course, that transaction gets mined and uses an algorithm called proof of work. That's what mining does. So you have a lot of people who are very concerned about the energy consumption of proof of work algorithm. Now, on the one hand, you have people who say this is just FUD, that there's no real impact compared to the other alternatives for Bitcoin mining on environment. And basically on balance compared to what you can possibly do otherwise, that it's not really as big of an issue as people talk about, that it's mostly just FUD against Bitcoin. That stands for fear, uncertainty, and doubt. And then you have people on the other hand that say, well, even if that's true, if that doesn't really matter, what matters most is like public perception and narrative, and therefore something like proof of stake, which hint, that's what Ethereum is moving towards, is labeled as more of a green, sustainable, strategy for running blockchains, and that's going to be more palatable to the public who has this concern, whether it's founded or not, towards blockchain technology. And so you see that here in his tweet, right, talking about Tesla will not be selling any Bitcoin, and we're looking at other cryptocurrencies that use less than 1% of Bitcoin's energy per transaction. Okay, so hint, proof of stake. All right, that's where ETH is headed. If we have the merge happen this year, then basically we could see something like this. We could see interest move towards ETH as a superior blockchain and store of value than Bitcoin, at least in the eyes of the public. And this is one of the big reasons. I actually made a video talking about this a while back on how Ethereum can be a superior store of value because of this branding as it being the more green blockchain and sustainable energy. Okay. Now, here's the thing. Whether that really matters that much on the grand scheme of things, like from an actual like truth fundamental perspective, like is it actually that much more green? I don't really know, to tell you the truth. Like there's lots of people who are on the both sides of this debate that say, hey, this is what's better, this is what's not better. But I think what we're talking about is narratives. Okay, narratives are very, very powerful. And so if Bitcoin now has this narrative behind it, this anti-narrative in a lot of ways, that it's, you know, not green, and then it just kind of becomes, I saw somebody say this yesterday, I don't remember who it was, they say it kind of becomes, you know, radioactive for institutional investors. So if Bitcoin initially had this narrative of being the institutional grade asset from these investors, then now, you know, it's kind of, this has had the opposite effect. Okay. So another thing to think about is, you know, Elon and Tesla's first priorities for sure are to their, just to Tesla. Okay. And so if Tesla, you know, kind of gets this perception that, oh, they've like, they've made a deal with the devil, so to speak, in buying Bitcoin, because everybody who's into Tesla, who's into sustainability, who's into, you know, getting rid of fossil fuels, all this kind of stuff, thinks that, you know, Bitcoin is just like, you know, rat poison. And that's bad for Tesla. And that could be one of the reasons that we're seeing, you know, this type of statement here. So those are just some of my thoughts on the matter. So this definitely, I don't think it was a coincidence, the fact that the market kind of really panicked after this happened. Okay. You know, Elon was supposed to be the man with the Midas touch for everything in crypto, but he also, you know, his words seem to carry weight in either direction. So if he says something critical about Bitcoin, then, you know, people listen to him, and we see it kind of go the opposite direction. So let's talk about, you know, this idea of another cryptocurrency that uses less than 1% of energy transactions. So like I said, I'm talking about ETH here as being a very logical choice. Now, that being said, we do have other layer one blockchains for sure that are, you know, moving towards proof of work like now. Of course, you have Cardano and others, not proof of work, sorry. More towards staking or different consensus algorithms that aren't proof of work. That's what I was trying to say. So I misspoke a second ago, so I'll be very clear. So y'all understand. So we do have other layer ones, of course, that are doing that. I mean, who knows? Like Elon's a little bit of a wild card at this point. We don't know for sure what his next move is going to be. But if I were a betting man, I would put it towards ETH in this regard. Now, that being said, the merge has to happen. So what I mean by that, so if ETH is on a transition phase from Ethereum 1.0 to Ethereum 2.0, Ethereum 2.0 is when proof of stake like officially turns on, and that's you know, that's when we replace proof of work. We don't have mining on Ethereum anymore. So basically, that merge optimistically could happen in 2021. Now, more conservatively, probably early 2022. But, you know, that would need to happen in order for ETH to really solidify as, you know, right now it's a more quote unquote green solution to Bitcoin's proof of work. Okay. So this has got a lot of people talking about more and more about a flippening. Okay, so what do I mean by that? Well, ETH flipping Bitcoin and becoming the number one cryptocurrency by market cap. So, you know, if you go to a website here like CoinGecko, you see the cryptocurrencies, you know, listed 1 through, you know, 100 and then on to many more pages. Well, basically, that's by market cap. So how many are all the total crypto, how much are all the coins worth? So basically, Bitcoin's been number one. You know, ETH has been sitting here number 2 for quite some time now. But if you look at the market caps now, like ETH just has to a little more than double to surpass Bitcoin in this way. And so now, you know, if Bitcoin has this tainted narrative behind it that it's just, you know, it's not sustainable for the environment, like I said, whether that's actually true or not, but if that's now the narrative that's working against Bitcoin, and ETH has that narrative that it's going to be in favor of it, that it's going to use proof of stake, you know, be more, you know, green, at least in perception from other people, then that's another really strong piece of momentum that could carry it past Bitcoin, or at least if ETH just has all the other momentum that's already got going for it, and then Bitcoin has this reverse momentum dragging it down, then we could very realistically see a flippening and see ETH become the number one market cap cryptocurrency, I mean, in 2021. So that's not an official prediction from me. That's not financial advice, but I'm just saying this became way more possible based on what happened yesterday, based on all the other crazy momentum that we've seen in ETH's favor. Now, of course, there's other assumptions with that. The assumption is that we do continue on with this bull market for many more months, okay? The assumption is that the top is not in, right? There's lots of assumptions there, but assuming that we do move forward, there's lots of positive momentum for ETH and a lot of negative momentum for Bitcoin for all the reasons that we were talking about here. Now, that being said, we do have a lot of people who are super bullish on the space still. We have MicroStrategy saying this is a dip buying opportunity. Okay, so MicroStrategy has purchased an additional 271 Bitcoins for $15 million in cash at an average price of $55,387 per Bitcoin. As of May 13th, 2021, we hold 91,000 Bitcoins acquired for about 2.25 billion, average price of $24,000 per Bitcoin. That's pretty crazy. So we do have people who are still quite bullish on the Bitcoin space despite what's happened over the past day in terms of the news and also the price. So we'll see. Can Bitcoin heal itself? Can the Bitcoin community help fix the narrative problem that Bitcoin has for it? Because it has a new narrative problem for it. I mean, we're seeing this stuff talk about across major media outlets, right? CNBC, Bloomberg, New York Times, everybody's talking about this. Okay, this is not just in the crypto bubbles. Elon just took a U-turn. Everyone from Elon Musk to Janet Yellen is worried about Bitcoin's energy usage. Okay, I mean, we saw this earlier, with NFTs, right? People concerned about NFTs being a problem for the environment and all this type of stuff. So you definitely got people who are coming for crypto, so to speak. We gotta watch out. So yeah, that's pretty crazy. So let's look at actually the cryptocurrency prices and kind of see what could potentially happen here. So in terms of Bitcoin, I just have to wait and see. I think we'll see responses from the Bitcoin community about this. We'll see things kind of come up in crypto. It's hard to see a ton of like super bullish catalysts for Bitcoin around the corner, right? Especially if institutions are worried about this, right? And because sometimes if the institutions, they don't actually really care that much about like, are they harming the environment with this type of thing? Like they just more care about the public perception. I mean, it's just true. So if they're too scared to be associated with something like this, I mean, it could be bearish for Bitcoin. And in the very least, it's hard to see a lot of really, really bullish catalysts. I mean, maybe you get people who are sort of like the contrarians who say, hey, this is a perfect buying opportunity because everybody's too scared of it. That could also be a case that maybe this turns this into an opportunity. But yeah, I mean, I'm not dumping my Bitcoin or anything like that on this news. Of course, I've held mine for a long time. And I'm not saying that the Bitcoin price is going to tank like down to $10,000 or anything like that necessarily, but it's hard to see a lot of like really bullish tailwind that's just going to thrust Bitcoin like up to $100,000. So maybe that'll change. We'll just have to wait and see here. So also with let's check on the ETH price. So basically, ETH, like I said, flash crash kind of down to like 30. I can't find it. There we go. $3,656. So, I mean, we're back down to a price level we saw, just a few days ago. I mean, ETH has been, going like crazy. Like within the, about 4 or 5 days, 5-6 days ago, we're back to that same price level. So, I mean, ETH's been getting pretty frothy lately, to tell you the truth. I mean, I made some videos saying like, hey, like now's kind of the time to be careful in the crypto markets because, everybody's been super bullish and the ETH price has basically been in euphoria for several days. And it's sort of like, okay, everybody, like I'm super excited just as everybody else is. But when everybody gets this, crazy, it's like time to step back and be a little cautious. I mean, I made a video about that. I think it was earlier this week, talking about how now's the time to celebrate, but also be careful in the crypto markets because You know, there's a lot of leverage going around. People are super excited. Nobody thinks they can lose. And that's usually the time that something kind of crazy happens. I'm not saying it long-term top necessarily, but temporary top for sure. And I think we just got that. So we can actually check on the ETH metrics here. So I'm gonna pull them up so we can take a look on my screen. So let's let me just pull it up here. So let's look at Ethereum. All right, so we can look at the NUPL chart for ETH. Okay, hold on a second. I got to sign in. So I've been looking at the NUPL chart for Bitcoin a lot as an overall indication of what's been going on with the cryptocurrency markets, because Bitcoin's been the leader. You know, we sort of use it as a baseline metric for the overall market health. But, you know, like I said, that could change. We've been talking about that on this channel. How, you know, if ETH flips Bitcoin, or, you know, let's say Bitcoin now has these anti-narratives for it, and it is like no longer becomes a market leader, then maybe we have to change about how we think about the markets. That's going to put us in a really interesting position. Okay, so for that reason, I've been kind of looking at some other metrics too. We can see the ETH NUPL chart. So the ETH NUPL chart doesn't historically tell us the same things as the Bitcoin NUPL chart in terms of the overall market health. Like on the Bitcoin NUPL chart, every time you're in blue, or most times that you're in blue, it typically indicates some sort of long-term top, okay? And we saw that kind of the diminishing returns pattern with Bitcoin. I can show you that here in a minute. But with ETH, that's not always the case. Like you can see here, let me just kind of resize my screen. You can see here with ETH that we can be in the blue territory and sort of euphoric territory for a long time before you see any kind of correction. And those corrections don't necessarily mean a long-term top. It's just, they usually just mean that it's going to correct. So that being said, it still makes sense to be cautious when you're in the blue area. We've been in blue for several days here, okay, since, you know, basically the beginning of May. So we can check on Bitcoin, see how it's doing. But like I said, this metric may become less and less relevant. Let's just see here. So it's hard. Sometimes this menu gets a little funky. So Bitcoin. All right. So yeah, if you look at Bitcoin the same time frame, then the Bitcoin metric is dropped quite a bit. So for NUPL chart, we can see it's, yeah, we're basically at the same NUPL value that we were back in December. Okay, we're at the same NUPL value that we were. Well, let me just make sure my chart's up to date. This is May 12th, as of yesterday. Back to the same NUPL metric that we were 0.59 that we were back in December when we were at $19,000. So that being said, if we do still have demand for Bitcoin despite this sort of anti-narrative, let's say this anti-narrative essentially just slows Bitcoin's progress. It's not a death nail for Bitcoin or anything like that, and it does stay the market leader. That does mean that this gives us more headroom to rise, where basically, we can rise faster without this, approaching this euphoric kind of motion with Bitcoin. So we'll see what happens. Of course, you can zoom out and see this over the long period of time as well. But yeah, I think yesterday when we saw this happen with Vitalik and the Shiba Inu coins, like I was talking about earlier, this could be the end of the dog coin trend for a little while. Of course, not financial advice. We don't know what's going to happen for sure, but we do see sentiment for Dogecoin, I think, changing a little bit. All right, so Dogecoin's down to $4, 42 cents, $4.20. That'd be pretty crazy. 42 cents. All right, we definitely had a Dogecoin top around the SNL skit. All right, so we saw Elon go on SNL, all this type of stuff, and yeah, womp womp womp. Dogecoin's been back to here. So, of course, we've been talking about Dogecoin that, time to exercise caution. It's been going up like crazy. Who knows if this is the long-term top for Doge or not, but I do think, sentiment's kind of changing towards these dog coin spinoffs. They're trying to capture some of that, especially since we saw Shiba Inu absolutely tank yesterday. So we can actually pull up those charts and see how it looks here. All right. So Shiba Inu. Take a look here. All right. So, yeah. So that's not great. So I feel bad for anybody who didn't know any better, who like kind of got into these things for sure. If you've been watching these live streams, we've been definitely issuing warnings on these type of things. I don't give a lot of financial advice in terms of what to buy or sell, but I am always okay with telling people to be cautious when it's time to definitely exercise caution. And we've seen that around Dogecoin, Shiba Inu, all the spin-offs, Woofy, all those types of things. So let's see if we got any questions in the chat here. Somebody says sold my Bitcoin for SafeMoon 3 weeks ago. Hope that worked out okay. Somebody says Elon tried to sabotage crypto. Somebody said, oh yeah, so this is great. So somebody says, can you talk about how the fact that no one in Dogcoin chats knew who Vitalik was? Okay, so this is great. So I did see screenshots of this actually floating around Twitter where basically they were saying like I saw screenshots of this, people saying like who is Vitalik? And I think there's probably some more colorful language in there that I won't repeat. Try to keep the streams family friendly here, but it's pretty comical. So basically, this is an indicator that it's just all these people who are brand new to crypto, who are just trying to make money as fast as possible, get into the next hot thing, who are basically just gambling, and they didn't know who Vitalik Buterin was. So if you're watching this stream and you don't know who Vitalik Buterin is, that's okay. I assume that you're here to learn. So Vitalik is the mastermind behind Ethereum. Of course, was supported by several other co-founders, but yeah, definitely is his brainchild predominantly. So he's still an active part of the Ethereum community. They gifted him the not Doge coins. They gifted him the Shiba Inu coins to try to like give their coin reputation, right? They get him a large amount of supply, which turned out to be a death knell for Shiba Inu tokens. So that's who Vitalik is. And then yesterday we saw people in the Dogcoin chats who had no idea who he was. It was awesome. So we're seeing this. We're seeing a lot of TikTok influence in crypto this time around, where people are blowing up at TikTok. You might have seen them on Twitter. I talked about on one of these live streams where it was like, these people who are positioning themselves as crypto analysts who really have no idea what they're talking about, and they're saying that that Dogecoin can be worth more than Ethereum, right, in terms of the actual price itself, and they're not even talking about the market cap. And they're like, typically I give it a year, but based upon what Doge has been doing, I think it could happen a lot faster or something like that. And it's like, oh my gosh. The tragic part is like there are people who are actually going to believe it. So it's funny in one sense, it's not in another. It's funny because it's like, how can somebody be that crazy? So like either one, they actually believe what they're saying, which is just means that they're completely incompetent, or number two, they're like trying to take advantage of people and aren't exactly honest, which is not cool for sure. Either way, it's not cool, but it's still funny in one sense. It's sort of like when you see somebody at a party who's like absolutely crazy and they're kind of like funny to laugh at, but in the other sense, it's not really funny because it's like, oh my gosh, this person's not making the best decisions on the face of the planet. So got any other questions in the chat here? Somebody says Coinbase is going to accept Dogecoin soon. It might. Somebody says, will gas fees kill ETH? I don't think so, especially since we got layer 2 scaling solutions just around the corner. The other thing about gas fees is it's an indication of the actual demand for the Ethereum network itself. So gas fees are expensive because people want to use the network. And one of the reasons that gas has been so expensive lately has been because of the Shiba Inu project. We're actually seeing a ton of gas consumed by the Shiba Inu token itself, and other pools and stuff associated with it. So we'll see how so that's a Submariner. Somebody's asking about that. Forget. I went mine to any collectibles. So I do hold some collectibles. So buy ETH 1 or 2. So if you buy ETH now, it's going to transfer over to ETH 2 without anything having to change. So SafeMoon, I'm personally not touching SafeMoon with a 10-foot pole. somebody says if decentralized, oh, so the chat's moving so fast, I haven't heard them reading it. Somebody says if decentralized assets pump or dump because of one person, how decentralized is it really? So they're upset about Elon here. So that's a good question. So the decentralization primarily starts off with the technology itself and how the technology actually runs. So, I mean, decentralization is a theme that you want to permeate every aspect of the cryptocurrency itself. That's for sure. You know, that would be the most ideal scenario where everything is decentralized as possible. The entire network is distributed. The applications built on top of the networks are distributed as possible. You know, the people who run the network and use the cryptocurrency are as decentralized as possible in the sense that, you know, we have them in every single country in the United States, every single country in the world that's borderless and all this kind of stuff, and that no person has any influence, no one person has any influence over the price. So that's the most ideal world. Crypto's still young and new, and what you're mostly seeing, the problem right now, you know, if one person can sway the price of crypto that much, really this is a reflection of the crypto's market cap, where Bitcoin still has a relatively small market cap on the grand scheme of things. I know $1 trillion is a lot of money. It's a lot of money. But part of it is, you know, that market still can be moved by someone as big and as Elon, you know what I mean? You know, it would need to be bigger than that and also it would need more confidence in the asset itself. So part of the other reason is, even though it is worth, like you would think that something that's worth $1 trillion may not be as easily influenced by one person, but part of it's because of how new Bitcoin is and how much of an unknown it is. And people still treat it as speculative. They're kind of just not sure about this thing, right? And so that's another reason that somebody like Elon has such influence over the price is, you know, one, the market cap but even if it does have a bigger market cap, number two is sort of the uncertainty still. Like, you know, Bitcoin has this narrative as a store of value, but the truth is, like, people are still trying to figure that out. Is that true? Like, it's kind of this game of chicken. And yeah, that's another reason why. So that's all I got for today. As always, smash that like button down below. Subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. That really helps these videos out so more people learn about blockchain. You know, if you're as fascinated with this technology as I am and you want to get your hands dirty, how can you get started today? You go to my YouTube homepage. You can find my free courses there. They're like Udemy courses, but they're totally free. If you like those and you want to take the next step, or hey, maybe you want to take a massive shortcut entirely, I should become a blockchain master step-by-step, start to finish, over at dappuniversity.com/bootcamp. Okay, you don't have to be an expert to get started today. Help people with zero coding experience become real-world blockchain developers in a matter of months. So that's all I've got, and until next time, thanks for watching.